All right, let's hear for Team Intrepid.
Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Crocker, and I'm here today to share with you our puzzle adventure game, Intrepid. But first I want you to remember, when you were a kid growing up, who your best friend was. You guys would have fun together, you'd play games together, you'd go on adventures, and even get into trouble sometimes. But that feeling of nostalgia, that fondness for your childhood pal, this is what Intrepid is about. Intrepid is an adventure between two best friends. It's about the relationship between a dynamic duo. And I'd like to introduce to you a very special dynamic duo, Tank and Jesse. Now, Tank and Jesse are best friends. They've been inseparable their entire lives. Both are very formidable by themselves, but together, they can overcome any challenge. They can solve any puzzle together. Now, Jessie, she is a tenacious 10-year-old girl who loves exploring the great unknown. She'll always leap into action at the sign of something new, something exciting. And she's kind of a spontaneous daredevil, and sometimes this can get her into trouble. But she knows that she'll always have her best friend at her side. And that best friend is Tank. Tank is a resilient corgi. Tank is Lassie. Tank is Tintin. Tank is Indiana Jones in corgi form. But he uses his canine attributes to help Jessie solve all the problems that they encounter upon their adventure. But he needs Jessie too, because he is a dog, he doesn't have any hands. So he needs Jessie to help use puzzle keys or pull switches, or even to help him get to a high ledge because of his stubby legs. But despite these shortcomings, they work great together. They are the best team together. Their abilities, even though they move together as a unit, and the player controls Tank, their abilities complement each other. And just as Jessie and Tank come together to complement each other on their adventures, the Intrepid team came together to create an amazing, whimsical experience. So now we're going to introduce the game to you. So as the player controls Tank, we gave Tank 3 specific features so that the player would be able to help Jessie get through their adventure together. The first thing that we gave Tank was the ability to sniff. Now what you can do with the sniffing mechanic is you can find those trails of those special somethings hidden around the environment. This acts as a kind of hot or cold mechanism where the closer Tank is to something, the brighter the screen becomes and the faster that he moves towards that target. Whereas the farther away he is, the colder and darker the screen becomes and the slower he moves as he moves away from that special something. But once he's found that special spot, Tank can go ahead and dig it up. He can find things ranging from puzzle keys that help in puzzle progression, or glowworms which light up the environment, or even little tiny pebbles that we litter around the world that we made for them. But most importantly, Tank can bark to communicate with Jessie. He uses his barking to tell Jessie various different things. He can tell her to stay in a spot or to return to him and follow him. He can also communicate with her and ask her to pull different switches and levers and activate things which interact with different puzzle mechanisms. Jessie can also help Tank as well by, again, helping him get to high ledges by tossing him up, or if Tank ever slips down a hole, Jessie's going to be there to make sure that he doesn't fall further by snatching him back up. We also created a lost civilization for Tank and Jessie to explore and discover. This civilization was based upon the concepts of balance, and they did so through the power of water. However, as the civilization advanced, they exploited this power to the point where it wiped them out and caused some sort of catastrophe. As Tank and Jessie explore the world, they'll find things such as murals, crumbling architecture, ancient devices that they can use as they progress through the game. They'll be given these hints and clues, and it'll give more to the player about what's going on in the background story. We also had a big challenge of developing Jessie's AI. Now this includes all the ways that she navigates around the environment, avoids obstacles, things like that. Because since the player controls Tank, but they move at him as a unit, both Tank's movement controls and Jessie's pathing AI had to be excellent for us. Excuse So this was a challenge which took several weeks for us to do. Every week we would fine-tune and tweak and try to find ways to improve her through experimenting with the way that she avoids these different obstacles. But for having less than 2 months to work on it, we think she's pretty great, but we'll let you be the judge of that. So after all these steps, the next thing that we had to create were some puzzles. As we iterated over the different kinds of puzzles ideas that we had, we came up with our own rubric to establish how the puzzle fits in with the Intrepid world. We would ask ourselves 6 different questions, which helped us establish these puzzles. The first question that we'd ask was about the stakes. This meant, how does this affect their relationship? How does this challenge affect the relationship between Tank and Jesse? The next thing that we would address was the drawn skill, and this concerned the player. And we wanted to know, how could we engage the player by drawing them into this particular challenge? How was this interesting and fun for the player? The next was the danger. We want to know whether this was a physical danger or a more abstract or metaphorical danger between challenging the relationship between Tank and Jesse. The fourth point that we would like to address is the flow. And we wanted to make sure that all the puzzle progression was very natural and clear, that it was logical to solve each challenge. The fifth was reward. We wanted to know if Tank and Jesse would grow from this experience, from this challenge that they encountered. The last one was the story and setting. We always wanted to know if the puzzle fit within the overall big picture of the world that we were presenting. So this is the rubric that we would use whenever we tried to create new puzzle ideas or we needed to review old ones. So we would use this to make sure that our game ideas fit with what we're trying to express in the world of Intrepid. So now we'd like to show you this by taking you on an adventure.
Ready for another adventure, Tank? Oh, wow, look at that. Look, the fish are friends, just like you and me. Wow, this place is huge. Look at that waterfall. It's beautiful. The light has tiny green rocks in it. I wonder what those are. Oh, they're climbing up the waterfall. I hope they make it to the top. Aw, there's water in my boots. Now my socks are all soggy. Whoa, that guy looks kind of scary. I hope those two got out of it. I wonder where that big door goes. It looks like something is missing. I bet you can sniff it out. That was pretty fun. Can't wait to see what's next.
So that was our Intrepid demo. We were really proud to show that to you today. We had a lot of long nights, hard work, passion and dedication to show you what was on screen today. But we have a lot more things planned for in the future. We want to make this a lot more immersive and engaging for the player. The first thing that we want to focus on is developing a stronger relationship between Tank and Jesse. We want to make their friendship a lot richer overall. In doing so, we also want to make Jesse a more dynamic character. We want to develop, her character arc is going to grow from one where she's just about the treasure, she's a little bit reckless, into someone who's a little bit more mature, who's more about the adventure between Tank and Jesse than just going for the treasure and risking a lot. In doing so, we'll be able to raise the stakes by introducing more conflict, like the mysterious golem that you saw at the end of the thing. But by raising the stakes, we'll be able to inject more conflict physically through the environment, or more metaphorically through Tank and Jesse's relationship together. We also want to be able to expand the background story by developing the civilization even more. We want to, right now we're doing this in a very subtle way, but we want to make this bigger and better by adding more rooms, more architecture, more devices that Tank and Jesse to use to progress through the game. And by developing a stronger characterization of the characters and expanding the background story, we'll be able to create more puzzle variety. And we have a few concepts that I'd like to show you now of some things that we would like to do in the future. For example, this first one would be our spider encounter. Jesse is really scared of spiders. So in this instance, they'd be swarmed by spiders. And Jesse can use her lanterns to burn the cobwebs away, but Tank would have to bark at them to scare them off and create a path that they can escape with. The next one that we have is a little bit more lighthearted. It has to do with the glowworms that you saw kind of scattered around the environment in the demo. But there's one particular fat, juicy one who's carrying a key. And Tank would have to bark at it and chase it and herd it into Jesse so she can scoop it up and use the key in the puzzles. The last one is an example of us separating Tank and Jesse. We would have to separate them, and they'd have to move along a corridor to activate switches in conjunction with each other to get to the goal at the end. So this was Intrepid. This was our game, and again, we're really proud to show it to you. I'll take your questions in a second, but first I really want to thank the Intrepid team here with a picture of all of them. But without them, this game wouldn't have been possible, and it wouldn't have been to the standard quality that we had set for ourselves. So we have the talent, we have the people, all we need is the time to make Intrepid complete and to give Tank and Jesse the adventure of their lives. Thank you very much.
had is sort of like how much playtesting you did outside of here, because it didn't really sound like there was much player feedback to let you know what's going on, unless you already knew.
Sorry, say that one more time.
Just like how much playtesting you had outside of the group. It gave a sense that like unless you already knew what was going to happen, you didn't really have enough player feedback.
Right. So it was a little complicated, but overall, like this would be that puzzle that you saw at the end. That would be like a later game puzzle for us. As far as player feedback, we had a few people outside of the group playing it, but you're right. We do need to give more feedback about what's happening. More interaction. Right now, we just have Jesse kind of doing all the voice acting and telling us like what's going on, like what we need to do. But in the future, we're going to have more things in the environment that signal what exactly is you're interacting with. Nobody else? Yes.
Online, they're wondering, I hope this isn't a spoiler alert, if the tank is a metaphor for her dead dad. I just passed these along.
I'm going to go ahead and say no.
As far as you know, no.
No,
good response.
I guess in response to that, that was one of the criticisms that we got was like, oh, how is this different from Plushie Night? And one of the biggest differences in Plushie Night, I think you were escorting Gemma, correct? But in our game, you're a team. You work together as one. Yes?
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh.
I was ready to finish.
Okay, but you work together as one. You work together to solve the puzzles and to interact with each other like that. You don't have to really protect Jesse as much as I think, Gemma, you had to. Correct?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I do agree with you. I can see how you guys started out in the shadow of Plushie Night, but I definitely think it's different from Plushie Night. It's exactly what you said.
Okay, thank you.
But I am concerned about you trying to make, what's the girl's name?
Jesse.
Jesse Blinkable. Especially like when it comes to like voice acting. I know that for Gemma, it took us a long time to figure out how to get like the voice of Gemma. Not just the voice, but just like the script and like how she actually talked. Like I think the final script iteration wasn't there like the 7th or 8th? It was 10th. And I wish we went 15th iteration. And we started script writing really late, and I kind of wish we did it earlier. But yeah, I think it's a good spot.
Okay.
Pretty awesome.
So my response to that is she's a little chatty right now,
Right.
Jesse, but we'll be iterating over that as we go on. So yeah, we have been addressing that. Thank you.
So I always like to see kind of how the team thinks, and if you had to quantify what you think are the biggest unanswered challenges that you have yet to overcome in this game, what do you think they are, and what's your plan to overcome them?
I think our biggest challenge right now is introducing more conflict into the relationship between the two. We also want to address conflict in the environment. That's why we had the golem at the end, kind of signaling as things that we want to do in the future. So that's definitely going to be a challenge, trying to get that into the game, because we don't have combat. It's mostly puzzle and adventuring. So how do we incorporate that is going to be one of our approaches, I guess. Also, the other big challenge is how are we going to incorporate more animation to express their relationship together, and more art assets, just to get everything, like I said, bigger and better as we continue forward.
And you have a plan for those, or how you're going to address them?
Right. So the first thing that we want to do in the future is make these 2 rooms 100%, and make them exactly what we want to see for the rest of the rooms that we add. Like the first, it's polished up to what we can do for the 2 months, and I think we did an excellent job. But going forward, I want to make those 2 rooms completely 100% and then add on afterwards, using that as kind of a guide. One back.
Sorry, I just have one last question. Is Jessie using a nav mesh to move around, or is she basically falling around? Make her just like normally?
She's not using that nav mesh. She is looking at things in the environment, and she looks at obstacles, and she retargets her target accordingly.
Good idea. Don't do that too much.
Okay. Anybody else? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.